Alrighty, well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining into another night of our City of Mist game. We are making our way through a case of a missing boy, and tonight we are joined with the same cast we had last week. We have Spoon playing William Harvard, our history teacher. We have Phazon playing Mike Maulman, our garbage man. And we have Qedhup playing Calvin Sweete, our investor of sorts. Last time we were all here, you all had dove a bit deeper into the investigation. You had, what all did you do last week? I know you went to the park for a bit.
Went to the park,
Oh
swam
yeah,
in
you
the
you also went to a coffee shop.
Yep.
That happened to be closed, and decided to go searching around a little bit.
Nothing happened there. It's
Well,
okay.
I decided to go searching around. They decided to murder.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do nothing.
There was a bit of murdering there.
I mean, I did, but I didn't.
There was definitely one of the previously seen homeless men that had confronted Levi in the past. Made a reappearance with his two friends, and yeah, the biggin found himself missing a good portion of the top of his head. He definitely pulled a Pac-Man on the side of a barrel. And it's quite possible that this inspector that keeps noticing this group might be kind of getting a bit curious. Yeah, there were definitely a few scenarios. We heard many voices coming from Calvin, and it's not quite clear who or what he actually might sound like. That's a secret he is holding close to his chest. But after that very interesting night, they didn't leave empty-handed. They were given a locket of sorts with an address to a house in the blue-collar district. The next day, Saturday, they all went to the park and did a bit of searching. They talked to the street vendor, who was able to confirm that someone that matched Hans's description was at the park previously. They met a very interesting bird lady who seemed to have some abilities, able to answer questions and knew a bit more about them than they may have expected. And after doing a bit of searching underneath a little bridge where Hans had last been seen, they were able to get some help from some spirits, kind of directing them to somewhere in the industrial district. And they also were able to find a little bag of silver coins with the engram of a factory, Mather Industries, etched on it. So definitely a few directions to go. It is now Sunday, and with it being Sunday, that means the news has been published for the week. A few headlines are listed on there. But it's pretty early in the day. The bells for first mass have just rung. Sky's clear. Seems like it's going to be a pretty nice day. You can hear the loud horns of the steamships going up and down the river. The families are beginning to make their way to the various churches, to the different coffee shops. Everybody's wearing their Sunday dress, so there's a lot more people kind of out and about. A few shops are open here and there. It is about 7 o'clock or so in the morning. And, Mike, do you normally work on Sundays?
No. Wednesdays and Sundays I have off.
Okay.
It's more, personal stuff that I work on.
So, give us an idea. It's about, 7 o'clock in the morning, would Mike be awake at this point, since he tends to be an
Oh,
early
yeah.
riser to begin?
Yeah.
So what would we be seeing if we come in? Would you still be at home? Would you be out somewhere? Where would Mike be?
On the, I mean, you could kind of call it a porch, but it's more just like a chair out in front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of sitting there, eating whatever breakfast I might have left. Probably don't have a lot left at this point, but
And what do you like about living in the old quarter, the old barrows?
it's more just an interesting place than anything. There's not usually the same people always hanging out in the area, other than the kids that are running around.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely some excitement here. Again, just published in today's newspaper. Over the past few weeks, a few of the counselors from the other districts had been basically trying to fight over the rights of development of Emerald Lake. And the counselor of the Old Borough was the one that the magistrates actually gave those rights to, since Cross Ends was previously part of the slums, and he was the counselor of the slums previously. They kind of give him permission. It seems like he has plans to not only use this as a source of jobs for his district, so giving the populace of the slums an ability to get work, which is something that is very rarely done, but also plans to keep it kind of a safe place to go. There's going to be a little bit of development, but he wants to still keep it kind of clean, almost like a national park, but still additional housing structures and that kind of thing. So he seems to be really focused on community. Having read that newspaper, what's Mike's thought on this news?
I mean, it's an ambitious thing, but I'm pretty sure there's some greased palms that are gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's bureaucracy, so you know that they got to stay greased for the wheels to keep on turning.
Yep.
But it's definitely a wait and see kind of thing. It's still quite early, this just being published. Who knows? These could all be the dreams of a madman, for all you know. All right, so
Went to church.
William, are you and your wife church attending folk, or do you do other things on the weekend?
Yeah, she goes to church. I'm dragged along.
Mm-hmm.
So, you gotta be the good husband. And she's like, let's go to church. And I'm like, okay, I'll put back on the suit. And then we go to church for like 4 hours and then come home.
Are you one of the attend first mass to get it done and over with, or start your day, like get breakfast first and then go to mass kind of later in the day?
Oh, no, we go early in the morning
Mm-hmm.
so she can get back and whatever it is she wants to do.
So today's mass, there's a bit of, and again, I've never actually been to mass.
There he is.
So
Yeah, I had to install it.
cool. Everybody sounded good.
Yep.
Yeah, today's mass, they are also have a bit of a remembrance for a member of their church family. An older man, about probably 75 or so years old, passed away last week. Seemed to be of normal conditions, a heart attack, something of that sort. But for a moment, William, you have a flashback of that old man at the lake once more. It seems that his face and his eyes reflecting in that dark night within the lake still sits very close to you, to the point that your wife almost squeezes your hand a bit to make sure, are you paying attention? You seem like you're not here, focus, listen, kind of thing. But now it's summertime. So you have a bit of time to plan your studies for the next year. Do you have any new additions or changes you plan to include in your teachings for the upcoming year?
I'll probably, add a bit more history about Cross End before it was, a water feature.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, probably not. There's still a lot to cover. There's a lot of history within the city.
Is there any particular place that you tend to go for more research? A previous professor you used to work with, if you have questions, or how do you end up kind of researching your material for these sessions?
I end up going to like the city hall and going through their records and finding the appropriate information and then sitting down and then spinning it so kids might actually pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of kids, do you and your wife ever plan on having any of your own?
I mean, we wanted kids, but apparently I'm sterile. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
There's adoption.
There is?
Yeah, there is adoption.
So you receive the paper. And you can recall that very last week of school that there were 3 absences from your classroom. Reading that article, what's going on in your head?
Well, kids come in and out. Their parents pull them in and out of class whenever they want. There's not much I can do about that. Sometimes they just don't want their kids going to school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that big a deal. It's a little bit worrying, but it's not something totally unusual.
Mm-hmm. So beyond church and your general going about, what do you spend your time doing on Sunday? Do you guys have a specific place you always go to lunch? Do you have family you go and visit as well? What is your civilian schedule for a day off?
Oh yeah, after church we usually go back to a little cafe down the street from the church, and her family always goes to the same church, so we always go get breakfast and excuse me. And then after breakfast, we usually head home and maybe clean the house or just sit out in the backyard enjoying the weather.
How many other people are still living at the school since it's now summer break? Do all the other teachers stay there as well, or is it kind of like optional housing? You don't have to live here, but you have a place if you need it?
Yeah, it's optional housing. It's like a little neighborhood built into the thing. Maybe 4 or 5 houses for the teachers, and they want to live there. Most don't, but 1 or 2 stay. So.
And as you're traveling about, obviously you have a decent income. It's not great. It's a teacher's salary, and it's not one of the most wealthy schools, but you don't have to pay mortgage. So how do you and your wife get about? Do you have, a specific kind of cab company that you go on? Do you tend to travel through the underground, which is the underground kind of steam railway, the actual steam railway around? Do you walk a lot of places? How do you tend to get about the city?
We usually walk, or during the summer there's the horses that pull the buses for the kids. They go around and pick them up. We can always borrow one of those during the summer.
Yeah, the omnibus. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your wife's favorite part of the city?
It's now the lake that was Cross End. She used to go more towards the old district and enjoy the older buildings and the like, but now she likes the lake and the trees and the lake.
Do you guys have a way of getting to the lake that doesn't require you kind of going through the slums, or is that something you guys are kind of okay with?
Yeah, Yeah, we're not too bothered with going to the slums, so we can just walk through.
Okay. Perfect. So let's hop back to Mike real quick. Well, actually, no. Since we'll kind of run through kind of what everybody's doing, and then we'll go through our montage in a moment. So, Calvin, I have a feeling you're probably not up this early.
Actually, Sunday would be one of the few days I do get up early.
I
For
see.
2 reasons. One, a lot of my continuous clients go to church, so there's no reason I am not a godly man myself. Got to keep up the appearances. 2, the cleaning lady would normally wake me up extra early on Sundays anyways, so.
Do you have anyone in particular at the hotel that you tend to talk to, like a specific bartender, housekeeper, regular at the bar that you just, not business related, just a person to have a conversation with?
Oh, yes, Bentley, the guy that runs the front desk. Sometimes I'll just stand there and sort of talk with him. Tell him things I probably wouldn't normally tell other people because either he's not listening or just really good at keeping secrets.
Yes, deaf.
And how long have you been staying at the Cheshire Hotel?
I've been at the Cheshire Hotel for, I'm a regular there, probably for almost a year. It's easier than an apartment because they do everything for you.
So then after church gets out, you shake some hands, you give your shining smile. What is Calvin, again, you're kind of off work for a little bit. What do we normally see Calvin doing on a Sunday?
On a Sunday, he likes to watch his favorite wildlife. So he will go get coffee and then sit on a bench at a busy street corner and watch the people.
Do you have a particular corner you like best, or a particular district that the people are most intriguing?
It's usually in like the upper part of town, like near the merchant district. He likes to see where people are shopping and especially places where you get a lot of like fine china and cutlery and whatnot, because those are the places you tend to see a lot of soon to be newlywed couples and such, which are very, very good for future investment opportunities.
Absolutely.
I have a question. How many churches are in town? I assume there's probably quite a few, but there could be one big church that everybody goes to. So would me and Calvin end up at the same church, or would it be?
You guys tell me.
There would be multiple.
Depends on where you are in town. I tend to stick to the more like higher class, ritzier part of town.
Oh, so then no.
There's probably
hoity-toity.
one for the gated district, and then one for the middle and upper, and then one for the slums.
Yeah, I would say that there's definitely a church in the old boroughs. There's probably a few in the blue collar district of different denominations. Probably a few in the gated community as well. There's all types in the ethnic borough. You have mosques, temples, all of that. Downtown has probably one of the older kind of Catholic churches, I would say. So there's a variety. But chances are, Calvin, you'd be attending, one kind of either downtown or the one that's like right on the edge of the gated community and all of that. That's actually one of the easier ways to get into the gated community is to attend church on Sunday, because again, they have to keep their gates open. There's still a bit of you got to look the part to get in, but you don't have to struggle that much. So
That's
as long
probably
as you're,
what I do then.
yeah, head into that the ritzier part of town.
And then since to sort of cleanse myself of going to a church of a false religion afterwards, that's when I will sit with my coffee at a crossroads and look at the people, contemplate my own path in life.
How long has Calvin kind of had this path? Has it been about a year as well, or is this kind of the tip
that's about
of
when everything changed. It's been about a year since he picked himself up from having nothing, and in sort of the woes of depression and all of those terrible things, to when miraculously he suddenly found a way to pick himself up, and in that time he found a place to live, struck some deals, and has been doing this routine ever since.
Mm-hmm. Is there a part of the city you avoid either due to memories or due to when you're first upstarting, you kind of maybe ruffled the feathers of the wrong folk?
I imagine there's a certain block in like the office where like the offices in the nicer part of the city are,
Mm-hmm.
that he won't go near. It's like where he used to work and where his business partner that kind of betrayed him still works. Although he's doing well for himself and he is what he is, he's still in a way almost terrified of seeing the man again.
Mm-hmm. And that was a realty office?
Yes.
All right. So what I'd like to do now that we have a kind of an idea of how you guys would all start your day, at some point, I have a feeling you all would be either working on the case or continuing to develop yourself. So let's run through a quick montage of our characters, get an idea of how we want to proceed, and then kind of go from there. You have a few options. So because you all have the day off, is there a specific time you would plan to get together to make your next plan of action, or would you have made plans previously to say at this point, this next day, we're going to actually be here?
I would assume probably late afternoon, and we just kind of.
Yeah, that would sound about right to me.
We just kind of like we figured somewhere late afternoon, probably not an exact time, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll meet up at a cafe since we don't have to go to the pit or something.
Well, yeah, we kind of talk about it ahead of time.
Okay.
The exact time that we would meet up, so that way people that want to do stuff with other people can.
That sounds good. Well, let's start with you then, Mike. What do you want to spend your montage off for your Sunday morning as you're out and about?
Mike?
Or anything. Yeah. Make sure I don't need to recover anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to choose between Logos or Mythos. I'll probably go Mythos. This weekend, Wendy had to work overtime because one of the other people called in. So.
Okay. So, when you explore your mythos, you tell everyone at the table which mystery you explore and how you do it. You gain one clue with a method and source based on your description, and mark attention on that mystery's theme. So, which mythos are you investigating?
I'm gonna have to start looking into these glasses a little bit.
Okay, so that is the where can I find the architect of these glasses. So how would Mike investigate these glasses?
Well, typically Sundays, about the only place that's really open is pawn shops. So, I figure that might be a good place to kind of hit up and see what they're kind of go between each different one since Wendy came over and was like, I gotta work.
Mm-hmm.
I figure I might as well go hit up a couple in the business district.
Okay. What kind of information or details would you be looking for? Are you just going in kind of asking the owner, like, have you ever seen these before or anything like it? Or what is your method? Just going and viewing the store itself, what kind of items it has?
Well, I would go in and pretty much just go right up to the counter and start talking a little bit and see if, kind of watching their face and see if they like it, you know, that kind of like when somebody sees something valuable,
Mm-hmm.
they just kind of perk up and are like, and then they start to try and lead the conversation that way. Basically, I'd walk in, see if they do that within a little bit, and then if not, I'd go on to the next one until I found somebody that perked up.
Okay. So basically your question is, does anyone recognize these glasses? Something like that? Would that be what you would spend your clue on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it not picking me up very well?
It
No,
is and
you're
it's
good.
not.
Okay, let me
I
adjust
think it is.
my
I don't know when
settings.
you're not speaking. I don't know
Yeah.
when it's not picking you up, I guess. Yeah, there's quite a few pawn shops. Not as many in the business district. Most of them are, again, blue collar district, kind of slums. Again, the poorer parts of the city. But getting kind of in the downtown, there's a few down there. Does anyone recognize your glasses?
Hey, them magic glasses. I've seen those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I adjusted my levels, so it should be better.
So, kind of towards the edge of one of the main, it's kind of like an art district, I guess. A lot of, rugs and portraits and that kind of stuff. So it's a smaller pawn shop. Kind of has a little bit of an oriental theme to it. A small little red door. Inside, it's kind of dark, and it almost looks like a hoarder was running the shop. Like, it doesn't seem to have any order of anything. There's just items, anything from old, working tools from, industrial workers. There's clothing. There's instruments. There's, even some old guns and things from the Forgotten War. There's a variety of pieces in here. In the back is a younger woman. She has kind of an oriental look to her, long, dark, black hair. She wears a red kind of shawl. She greets you as she comes in, and you kind of ask her, have you ever seen these before? And she takes a look at them, and for a moment it seems like she's studying not just the item in your hand, but the person that has them. She looks into your eyes past the glasses once you take them off, and she kind of looks over the lines of your face, kind of trying to see through the bearded facade that you have, getting a read of your character. And she simply says, I have not seen this exact pair, but I have seen strange things come through my shop before. These things are not from here. They're like, well, these other artifacts of times we have forgotten. Where is it you came about them?
Just kind of in the trash.
What part of the city?
In the, well, what used to be the Old Bros.
You mean what used to be Cross End?
Yeah, Crossing, sorry.
The land that has also been forgotten, now deep beneath a lake. Yes. There is one that might know more. but he is quite difficult to find. His name is
Okay.
Guy.
How do you spell that?
G-I. I can send word for you, but it will cost. What do you have to offer me to do this for you?
Other than favors, I don't really have any kind of capital.
Dug your house.
I'm not gonna sell my house.
You don't need it.
Where do you carry your badge for the order? Like what part of your body? Is it like something that would be somebody would recognize that you have a badge on you, or do you have it tucked away in a pocket?
I keep it in a suspender pocket. I mean, in the front. So, I mean, if you could make out kind of the shape if you were, looking hard enough. But for the most part, it just looks like worn out suspenders.
Nothing to offer. I might
Other
have
than-
work for you.
Okay.
Come back in 1 week's time. I will see what I have discovered. I will have a task. If you complete that task, I will provide you with his location.
Sounds good.
Very well. What is your name?
Mike.
Mike. Very good. Yes. 1 week's time. Sunday, after the second bells of Mass. Come to my shop. The door will be locked. Knock twice. We will complete our task then.
All right. What's the name of the shop? As I walk out.
It is... The Jaded Whisper.
Write that down.
Yeah. What was her exact instructions? 1 week, knock twice.
1 week from today, after the second bells of Mass, return to the Jaded Whisper. The door will be locked. Knock twice.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I had everything.
Yep.
Because I'm not going to remember that.
Go ahead and mark attention to that theme. And...
Sweet.
Perfect. Awesome. So, let's move on. Calvin, how will you be spending your Sunday, spending your montage this day?
So choose one of the question or statements from the Logos or Mythos. Is that how this works?
So for montage, it's basically your downtime move. So you have a few options. You can give attention to one of your logos, basically trying to bolster that part, which allows you to gain attention for it, moving towards a level up of it. You can work the case, in which you dive deeper into the case you're studying, and you get 3 clues to then investigate on that case. Clues, again, being a question and an answer. You can explore your mythos, so you can pick one of your themes where you have a question that your mythos is trying to push you to answer, or you're trying to answer of your mythos, and you can explain how you would explore that, trying to get an answer to that question, in which you will ask a question of it. I will provide you an answer, and we can dive deeper into that. You will also gain attention for that, so that's how you would level up that theme. You can prepare for your next activity, so if you have any kind of negative statuses or burnt power tags, you can spend some time to recover those burnt power tags, or you can even gain juice, depending on your method. Again, juice is like a currency you can use to create story tags, so that could be, I'm going to get a bag full of weapons. Well, now you have 3 juice worth of weapon story tags. You can create something like that. Or you can recover from your last activity. So if you have any kind of injuries in which we can determine together, a single day or a few hours could actually relieve you of a certain status, then you can actually go through and do that.
Okay, well, I think one of the concerns that he has lately that still plagues his mind, that he wants to deal with, especially when he interacts with these people on Sunday, is going to be from his mythos, the will they still love me if I can't control them? Especially there's some girls there that have been catching his eye, and he's so used to like mentally dominating people that he wants to see if he can connect with someone without doing so, without just sort of controlling them as hard as it is for him to relinquish that. Especially since he's sort of a pathological liar at this point.
So tell me a bit about Hazel Grain.
Hazel
Grain.
Okay, well, she attends the same church as me. Mostly because she's the pastor's daughter. But she's really caught my eye. Something about the innocence. She's far removed from the shady world that I spend most of my time in. And I think that's part of the allure, is the fact that she's not part of that same darkness that has sort of consumed my regular life.
So give me an idea of how Calvin actually just talks to someone. So let's cue in on one of those scenes. The church is starting to come out, and you've hung around until, the pastor has said all the thank you for coming for everyone. Just the few, remaining churchgoers are still hanging out inside, and Hazel comes out and she says, "Oh, Calvin, it's always so good to see you here. Thank you again for coming. It was a wonderful service today, wasn't it?"
Hello, love. Yes, it was a wonderful service. I'm always glad to be here. Never get tired of it, that's for sure. Your father has the most influential and inspiring, I've got to say, way to really instill the Lord into me. That's for sure.
She grins and kind of grabs you by the forearm. "Oh dear, he does okay, but you don't have to flatter him. He's not around here. He can get a bit long-winded at times."
Necessary. The truth is the truth. He is as powerful in his message as you are in your beauty.
No, you're always so sweet, Calvin.
Of course. Yeah. Other than that, I just enjoy hanging around, and the light of my Sundays, and maybe the week, of course, is just to spend a moment with you afterwards.
Oh, of course. It's always so good to talk with you. These few moments we have before I must get on to my duties, it's always good to meet with the other fellows of my commission, especially those around my age. There's not too many of us, especially at the earlier mass.
Well, of course. Well, my job allows me, of course, with my investments and stuff. But as always, a pleasure to be speaking with you. Maybe we could find a time when we can, hang out for a little bit longer, get to know each other.
She kind of blushes, but, kind of looks down. "Oh, I don't know if I really have..."
Maybe dinner with your father or something like that.
Perhaps. I know he does have dinners with his congregation throughout the week, so I could definitely speak to him and see if he might be interested in setting up something with us.
Excellent. Oh, it's very good to hear. I could always have you over, order something in nice. If you'd have it, or I could come to you. We could set something up, that's for sure.
I think Father would be very happy to have us both here in his house. Yes, I think it would be just fine. Like I said, he does this all the time, so it'd be really nothing more. I have no doubt he has plenty of things he'd like to speak to you about.
Good. Definitely something we can set up then. And at this point, you'd probably see Calvin charming as ever, but sort of struggling a little bit, not to just like force be like, go on a date with me now, let's
Mhm.
go. Like, there's like a sort of a tension about him that he's trying his best to hide.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that she has a bit of reserved nature. You know, it's unclear if it's just because she is so innocent she doesn't recognize that Calvin is trying to ask her out and not just a family dinner, or if she might just be that reserved that this is not something she is all that interested in. Um, yeah, I guess. What does Calvin do with that? How does he kind of move past that? Does it require him to walk away to kind of hold that restraint to not use these
I
powers that come so freely, or
Yeah, I think at this point, especially since I'm using it's the solipsism card, I think at this point it's the, especially with that's the one he tends to use with like control and making contracts and whatnot.
Mhm.
It's like really tempting for him to sort of reach out his hand and do that usual shake over a contract, but be like,
Mhm.
no, deal, just between friendly people, and just like sweating, he'll just, instead of bringing it forward to be that extra step and prove that it's going to be a date and he's going to take control of the situation, he's trying to let the situation just happen, and
Mhm.
he's going to smile and just bid her adieu and walk away,
She, definitely smi-
straight to a place that sells alcohol.
she smiles, large as well. Again, thanks you for coming to the service, and goes back to meet with a few other members of the congregation. Yeah, you know that it's the gated community, so there's that one bar that's like right on the outside that is open all the time for all of the ne'er-do-wells. All the ones the non-churchgoers go there to drink their sins away.
I'm just going to have them fill up my flask, but I'm not actually going to stay.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling, is this a semi-regular occurrence? Is it kind of you walk in, you put your flask down, you toss the change, and the bartender just comes and top you off? Or is this an irregular?
Yeah, most likely. I'm a full-on alcoholic, so.
Yeah.
And it's always rum.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the same thing, rum. Add a little pinch of black powder to it.
Um, so what then question would you like to have from your mythos that wasn't answered through that conversation, or do you feel like you want to save that clue for further investigation?
Um, well, I mean, it's still following along the same lines of the main question there. He doesn't know at this point how to interact with people without sort of exerting his conning skills or his newfound powers. He doesn't know how to just react to someone as himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he feels that he's losing who he is versus whatever he's made a deal with. He's losing control to it. So this is almost like his way of learning about it, maybe not fighting it so much, but learning how to still be human while at the same time accept this temptation of his own.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still the, will they still love me if I can't control them? He doesn't know how they feel, and he's still trying to figure out if that's a thing or if they're just playing up to him, or what's happening.
Yeah, I think it definitely will require further investigation, but I think you have an opportunity here. You definitely have a connection to her. You're a regular, you're someone that she speaks to often, and seems to enjoy speaking to. So this dinner might be able to bring more insight into that. And who knows? Maybe the conversations with the father might also bring some elements into it as well. So go ahead and mark attention on that theme, as you now have, a scientific study that you can dive in a bit further. Um, And so, William, what are you doing?
I can't work on the day job. Doesn't help any. I don't. It's summer vacation.
Well, I
I
mean, you
mean,
could.
You can definitely plan your
Yeah, I
next
suppose I
year,
could.
or I don't know. Is William trying to move up in position? Is he getting tired of being a history teacher? Is he vying for Dean's position?
That's a plan. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Are you Dean? I'm taking your job.
Yeah, I mean, Dean has been there for a long time. A very long time. And there's
Seems like-
definitely other teachers that have a bit more of experience under their belt than you, but you're up and coming.
The best choice, obviously.
So
Yeah,
what would you
yeah.
be... It doesn't seem that Dean has any plans to retire right now. There definitely seems
No,
that
but-
he is surrounded by a bit of, not necessarily controversy, but he's been mentioned in some articles, obviously, about a few missing children. So he may not be in the highest light right now. So what would your plan then? How would you be brainstorming your campaign?
I start getting chummy with the higher ups. People who do the hiring, the school board and the like.
Okay.
We all end up. They all work and live in the same area because there's no point for rich people to be teaching a middle class district. So school board is still blue collar, so we all end up going to the same church and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I think after breakfast with the family, I go and start schmoozing.
So I would imagine that the school board is, a mixture of probably 3 or 4 people. They oversee the running of probably 10 or so different schools throughout the city. A few in the blue collar district. Probably only one in the slums, one in the old boroughs. A variety of schools around. What is Williams' method of getting access to these people to begin with, and then what does he do once he has that access?
Well, they usually make a tour around the districts every once in a while, and so I volunteer to show them around the district and how the school's doing, and while I'm doing that, I'm like, hey, I had this idea or this idea, such and such, and hopefully they'll listen.
Okay. Yeah, so you're trying to make yourself kind of a familiar face, someone that, again, a bright light, an upcoming star, whatever it might be. Definitely
I'm
get
a beacon
recognized.
to the kids. The
Perfect.
kids.
All right, go ahead and mark attention to that theme then.
All for the kids.
All for the kids. All right, so the day goes by. It gets to be early afternoon. You all make your way to the pit. Weather's still clear. It got up to be, probably mid to high 80s. Sorry, Ked. Celsius. I'm not sure.
That's fine. That's fine. It's all good.
Like 20? No,
Something.
that seems a bit high.
What did you
it's
say?
around the late 20s, early 30s.
I think 80 is like 23 degrees or something Celsius.
There's that
It's 20s, 30s.
particular bitter smell that the pit develops when it's not raining or soggy. Everything's a bit more crisp and ripe and just not that great, but you put it past you head into the pit, and that's where we'll begin. So you three are in there. Let's hear the plans for the day.
Okay. Bring my notes.
Yeah, notes. Let's see. We did the thing. Went to the park. Found the bag with the.
Well, we right now we have 3 main leads. We have a guy's name that we don't know about, Shinlin. Shinlin. We know about Mather Industries, which is probably where our person was taken on the potato boat. And we also have the locket with a place in it, an address.
I'm going to assume that Chinlim is probably connected to the place that was on the logo on the bag.
I just know that he didn't go with them, so I don't know. We don't know where he went.
The bag could just be completely unrelated too, you know.
It could be. We know he was being brought to the industrial section one way or another. Because Aquila did say that much.
Probably check out the house that was mentioned in the locket, that address.
That would probably be the closest thing to check out.
Yeah, and then if that doesn't turn up anything, we end up going to the industrial district either way, so.
What does Mike have to say about all this?
Sounds good.
All right.
Hey, I got my
Sounds-
mind on other things.
So
All
you
right.
all then do you all try to get transportation together? Do you travel separately? How would you all head into the blue collar district? It's probably just to get to the district, probably a few miles from where the pit is. The pit's kind of out of the city a little bit.
I don't know about you, but I borrowed a horse from the school.
I would probably take I'd probably take a cab.
Okay.
Call for a cab.
Yeah, you can afford the more
flag one down on
fancier
the
kind of
street.
handsome cabs. The
Sure,
single
nobody
rider.
wants to ride on my ride.
Are you bringing the donkey in the wagon?
You got the old
Well, yeah.
busted. I got the new hotness now. Come on.
So William is riding a horse.
Yeah,
I mean,
Calvin
I wouldn't have the donkey hitched
I'm
up
in like a.
since everybody else took off, but
I'm still in like my Sunday best. Well, not my Sunday best, but like dress clothes and got the tie flowing behind me, and I just look glorious on the horse. It's okay.
Mike, as you actually go to your little workstation where your donkey and your horse is set up, there's actually a note that's been left for you.
Oh, you've been fired.
so who am I gonna get to read this note for me?
Yeah, Mike doesn't know how to read. You remember that? Oh, Calvin doesn't
Well,
know that. Mike
I know
doesn't know how to read.
some basic stuff, so I'd go ahead and open it and look at it at least.
Okay, it looks like there's a sentence or two on it.
He's like that scene in Good Burger. I know some of these words.
Like how far into reading are we?
Pretty much anything over 5 letters, it's gonna be nothing to me.
I've been giving him reading lessons, but he's very stubborn.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just like real, but even a lot of the 5-letter words are, hit and miss.
The word
So
traffic.
you should be able to understand most of it. It says stop West Slums cleanup. Pickup only to occur Tuesdays, once a week. No longer daily schedule.
Schedule was the long one. You had to
Yeah.
you had to say that a few times.
Yeah.
The sketch.
Yeah,
too.
schedule. He wouldn't know. But the gist of it is, they don't want daily pickup in the West Slums.
Yeah, and that's one of your main areas as well. So that almost leaves additional days off for you. It is signed by the owner of the pit. You recognize his scribble on there. But yeah, it definitely seems unusual because, again, you know the slums, they got
Well.
garbage coming out of their ears.
It just
So-
means heavier work days on the days I do have to work. I know why I'm not going in there on certain days.
Mhm. I don't
Certain
think you do
people
at
are
this
doing-
point.
certain
Honestly, I
people
think
do
this
certain things.
this would be a bit surprising.
Well, yeah, coming from him.
Yeah. So you all head on to the blue collar district. For those of you that have obviously lived there, you know that it's just street upon street upon street of apartments and tenements of these, box cookie cutter style buildings that just overlap. The streets don't make sense. There's corners and turns and streets dead end to one another, and there's backyards and alleys that, if you're not familiar with this area, you're gonna get lost. During the day, there's just noise. There are children, playing in the front yards. There's stray cats, stray dogs chasing each other all over the area. The far northern part of the blue collar district rests against the river, and across it sits the industrial district. So there's all that kind of industrial noise coming through as well. There's the whistles of the few constables that are always trying to patrol. The songs coming from many of the dive bars in the area. There's just a constant kind of buzz, but for the most part, those that are grown up, they have their face down. They keep to themselves. They keep to their families. You know that this is where the hardest working people of the city live. They bleed, they sweat for the city, and all they want to do is just be able to make rent the next month, to put a loaf of bread on the table, and sometimes even that is difficult. And that kind of weight is just felt, that pressure is felt within the city. So how would you guys determine where you're going for this address? The blue collar district, it's miles of very similar looking buildings stacked upon each other, streets going this way and that way. How would you determine how to get to this exact address?
Bus routes.
So yeah, the omnibuses definitely travel around the area, but again, it's very specific. So without knowing what part of the district you're going to, it might be difficult to know what stop to utilize.
Are there walking the beat? Is there any constabulary?
Yeah, you find the few that are here, definitely for the size of the district, it seems like they're unmanned, but yeah, there's a single, probably 30-year-old man. He's got a dark kind of brown beard. His uniform is faded. It's no longer that dark, vibrant blue. It's that faded, almost kind of gray. His buttons seem to be, not very well polished. One of them actually seems to be missing. All of his equipment, seems to be a bit ratty. And you actually see him. He's in the process of chasing. It looks like maybe a 16-year-old boy that is carrying a bag of something down the street, and he's just trying to keep up. This is just as you kind of enter in on your cab. You see this kind of run past you on the side of the street.
Can I quickly open my door just as he goes to run past? The teenager, not the cop.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have you take a risk here just to see if you can time it to hit the teenager and not possibly either hit the cop on accident or just miss both of them.
Can I help?
So
And just park my horse in front of that teenager?
okay, yeah, I would say if you want to help,
Do I have? I don't.
I could use
so-
misfortune, I think, and control the dice for this.
I don't have any help points. Never mind. We never did that.
That's true. Yeah, you would not. Well, actually, both you guys should be able to have one help or hurt point because he was a newcomer. So, if you want, we'll retcon that. You can have one, spend that one now to give him a bonus to his roll.
Well, I mean, no,
Alright.
at the end of the session last week, yeah, you gave us one help and one hurt, and then an extra of our choice.
I think that was just for you. I didn't have
Yeah,
them
that
do
was-
it
that was
for
just
you
for
as
me.
well.
We're
Yeah.
supposed to do it as well, but we never got around to it. So.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
We-
take a help, and I'm just gonna use it. And so it'll be
AKA,
+1.
we're just kind of skipping the fact that we didn't do it and say that we did.
Exactly.
We'll like
Secret.
pencil in a stick figure drawing of us doing it.
So yeah, William kind of comes up in front of your cab and stops. You have a chance to swing your door out real quick to clip this guy as he goes by.
So I click the two things. Do I add it? So I add something else onto the roll then?
Yeah, so on the
Um,
very top, you should be able to add an extra one. Let me pull up your sheet
One?
real
Okay.
quick.
Just be
Yeah,
able
because
to
there's
hit
the plus minus.
Exactly, so just
So I'm
do an
assuming
extra one
plus
up
one.
there.
Okay, and it was take a risk.
That's correct, yep. Come on, roll 20. There we
Ooh.
go. Okay, so
Alright,
on an
well.
8, I will offer you a hard bargain or an ugly choice.
Ew.
Ugly
Okay. So we're gonna say this. That you're kind of reading the situation. Right now, the cab is going fast enough that if you swing it, you're gonna hurt this kid pretty severely. You can get up ahead of him and jump out yourself, still with William behind you, but that's gonna put you physically in front of him instead of the door. So you can either use the door and that's gonna hurt him, or you can actually kind of use yourself to jump out and then see what happens from there.
I'm. I think I would rather hurt the kid than myself. So I'm gonna swing out the door.
Okay. So that is gonna be, I'm gonna say it's a tier 3 status. Yeah. So you're the horse is kind of going. The cab's kind of down the dirt road. You swing the door, and luckily there's about a 3 or 4 foot distance between the constable and the kid, and you just boop, kind of crack him across the front of the head. He immediately gets off his feet and thrown forward, landing hard on the cement. And as he does, you hear a pretty solid crack as he lays there motionless. The constable kind of stops for a moment, like shocked with what happened, and starts to make his approach to just check if the kid is okay.
You have killed the kid.
Holy crap! Where did that guy come from?
Oh, hey, sorry about that. I kind of rode out in front.
No, this can't be right. This can't be right. No, this kid. We've been looking for him for at least 3 weeks now. Damn it. Go and
Well,
find me
you
help
found him.
immediately.
It's okay.
Sure.
Yes, I'm gonna go look for help.
Okay, where do you go and look for help?
What's nearby? Just nondescript buildings and.
So
Constable, I know of a doctor that lives at this address. Do you know where that is? And I give him the Lockett address.
I like it. I like it, but I'm gonna have to have you convince me because he does know this district. So yeah,
Doesn't
convince
our good
him to
friend,
put
the
this
doctor,
kid in
live
your
here
cab,
somewhere?
and he'll lead you to this address.
Okay, so I'm gonna use Okay, so is this a roll or
Yeah,
or is
so
it
I'm gonna
just,
have
like-
you convince him. You're trying to use your abilities to
Oh, I see,
basically
it's a
talk him
convince.
into doing something. While this is all happening, Mike, you kind of roll up on the scene on your donkey. You see this
Flip-flop,
dark black
flip-flop.
handsome cab. It's a smaller kind of wagons, a single-person wagon where the rider rides on top of it. You see the rider up there dressed in all kind of dark outfit, tall top hat on him. He's kind of looking shocked down on the bottom. There's this kid that's sprawled out on the sidewalk. Luckily, it's like still dirt, but it's like hardened dirt, so not all that bad. William is up ahead of him on a horse. The horse is like almost bucking up just to the sheer chaos that just occurred, and there's a constable next to him. All right, so you the constable kind of looks at you confused for a moment and goes and reaches beneath his neck. You see a pool of blood begin to kind of form. He goes and like pounds his fist into the dirt. Damn it, 7 hells.
Does Hawk's character live nearby, or is he in the old district?
He's in the old borough.
Oh, that's too far to ride.
Who are you? He stands up immediately. Give me your name now.
Me?
You have just committed murder in front of me, son. Give me your damn name now.
Well, that's manslaughter at most, and you know it.
You truly
yes,
want to
of course.
argue with me? He goes and he reaches for his baton from his side.
No. Okay. Yeah, my name is Jiminy Cricket.
Mm-hmm. What was that?
I opened my door to get out, and this kid came out of nowhere.
You opened your door while moving.
Well, I'm impatient.
I like to live dangerously.
Jiminy Cricket, the impatient.
I'm gonna ride down the street and see if I can find somebody who maybe has some kind of medical training or something. Maybe somebody who can at least help with some bandages.
Okay. He says, come here, up against that wall. You will stay put. He points towards one of the, apartment buildings. There's now like a few older women that have kind of come out to the balcony and are looking down. Oh my, what has just happened down there? And he goes and he blows his whistle. Off in the distance, kind of a ways away, you hear a very light kind of response. You will stay here till we get this resolved. This boy is dead.
Oh
because
my.
of your hand.
Oh, but is he so? Look, there he goes. I want to use my tricks of the mind. He was faking it.
I killed him, but look, now he's not dead.
All right, so let's go with a sneak around on this one, because you are using your abilities to act secretly or deceptively. You're definitely trying to trick him.
I'm using the power of voodoo.
And so, once you use the power of voodoo, we identify the body as Hans, and then we're good to go.
Cool. And we're gonna do conning. And this is which one again? Sorry, sneak around.
This is gonna be a sneak around, yeah.
Yeah, that's not
Someone
bad.
unimportant noticed you. You were perceived only by a secondary sense. Someone picks up on your scent while you're sneaking. You must leave something important behind or be discovered. Okay.
Gets to pick one. Ooh.
So
Rolling well today.
you remember something. He's going to bite. He's going to look. You're going to have a chance to run away, but you remember you left your cane in the cab.
Oh, I can't leave that. Well, I'm not going to leave without my cane, so I'm going to stay for the cane. I'm going to grab it from the cab.
He looks for a moment, and you have a moment to kind of go over and grab your cab while he's looking, or your cane, bring it out of the cab, kind of go back against the wall. He turns around. He's like still trying to breathe. You can tell he hasn't run this hard for a while. He looks down the street and he sees you, Mike. Clear out of here! And kind of goes to wave you off. You too! And he waves off your cab as well. You're not needed now. William, after probably just a few moments, you do see that there's one of those many kind of clinics, the small little personal single physician kind of offices that's off to the street. It's unclear if it's open at the moment.
Well, I'm gonna hop down off the horse and loosely tie the horse up real quick, and then knock on the door, kind of loudly, and see if I can get anybody.
Yeah, inside you hear some like grumbling. Yeah, one second. Ugh. There's like some fumbling with the doors. Eventually it opens, and as it does, like just the smell of a brewery kind of hits you. There's, you know,
That's a good smell.
probably 40-year-old, aged, wrinkled, kind of just worn down man there. He's wearing, you know, a doctor's coat, but it's like off to one side, and it's got these dark, weird brown and like dark yellow stains all through it. And he kind of hangs onto the door. Who are you? What do you want?
Are you or were you a doctor?
What of it? I'm closed. He
Andrew's
like goes
kid
to point at the
bleeding out.
sign, but the sign's not there.
Kid bleeding out on the sidewalk. Help.
Oh, shit. All right. And he like goes inside, stumbles inside, and grabs a quick bag. Kind of comes out. One sec. Throws up off the side of the door. All right.
I'm gonna push him up on the horse.
Bleeding
and I'm
dog
gonna
kid.
Get on the horse.
Where are we going?
I'm gonna push him up onto the horse, and I'm gonna get on the horse, and we're gonna ride down.
Yeah,
The kid.
he's definitely you have to hold him on. Luckily, you're strong. Yeah, Mike, what are you up to in the meantime?
I'm doing as this constable says, so I don't get in trouble.
I'm going around the corner.
All right. Are you just going? Are you trying to keep an eye on the situation? Or are you going elsewhere?
I'm just kind of riding slowly past.
Hip club.
Okay. Yeah, as you get up, the kid, you know, he's down there. There's a pretty large pool of blood. You know, head wounds tend to bleed pretty bad. Forming kind of in the dirt. The dirt is becoming more muddy and kind of the dark brown.
Well,
Calvin, you
shouldn't
see Mike starting to go by. Do you make any?
Okay. I'm not gonna look directly at him or anything. No need to bring other people into this. I am just standing up against the wall at the moment. Is the constable actually doing anything with me at the moment, or is he just sort of waiting for other people to show up?
Right now, his attention is pulled between you and the boy. He keeps like looking down at the boy, kind of shaking his head, looking back to you, and like gripping his baton a bit harder and back and forth. He hears, you know, Mike walk by, and he'll turn around to kind of watch him go. So he definitely seems to be in a sporadic mindset at the moment.
Are there like there's random alleyways and stuff
Oh, yeah.
like that? Is there a lot of people around as well that have been clearing out?
Mostly in the building that you're up against. There's some onlookers that are forming kind of in the windows and balconies up above you, and a few across the street, but there's not like a crowd forming on the street itself. It's just some people kind of looking down from these buildings around you.
Okie dokie. I'm just gonna wait there for the moment, as I don't seem to have many ways out.
Okay. That sounds good. So, William, you get back there, and the doctor sees the kid on the ground and kind of falls off. Don't worry, I'm a doctor. Kind of makes his way over to the kid, goes down, starts to check his vitals. No, he's gone. Took a pretty nasty blow to the head.
Oh no!
Not much I can do here. Sorry about that. Can you give me a ride back? Possibly. Maybe. Wait, I probably need to sit down for a moment. And he goes and like kind of crumples up against the back wall. His leg is like kind of stretched across where the kid's head is. He, you know, sticks his foot down in the blood puddle that's starting to form and kind of just starts to snore a little bit. After William arises, Calvin, you hear the sounds of a horse making its way down, and coming down the road is another constable on top of a horse. he arrives, looks down to the situation, and the other constable and him kind of go off to the corner. He leaves his horse, and they go off to the corner to have a conversation before the constable that had been there first leaves. Kind of looks at you and kind of points his baton. Don't you fucking move. And they both make their way to the corner.
I'm changing my attitude a bit. I'm not standing there like an obvious guilty party. I'm standing there trying to look impatient.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is wasting my time, and waiting for the other constable to come and talk to me.
Okay. So yeah, they head back off. William, what do you want to do in this situation? You could definitely see there's more onlookers up above, kind of prying eyes, all of that. The doctor's just passed out. The constables are off talking on their own.
I'm
just
just gonna stay on the horse, but I'm just gonna stare at the onlookers until they decide it's not important for them to be watching. And then kind of stick around. Because, I brought the doctor, so I can stay around. I can just kind of hang out and see what happens.
Okay. So I think what we're going to do here, I'm going to have you change the game, because you could kind of consider prying eyes to be a story tag currently. But with change the game, you have the ability to burn a power tag or story tag. So if you can explain to me how you're going to convince these people to kind of turn their eyes away, I would let you kind of spend that juice to kind of burn that tag so that they go away from their windows.
Well, I just kind of want to, make it seem like staring isn't such a effective use of their time, so I'm just going to stare at them very, not evilly, but just kind of terrifyingly, like they don't need to be watching this. A boy just died, they don't need to be gawking.
Okay.
Type thing.
Sounds good. Yeah, go ahead and add your power tags for it. Do you feel like there's any weaknesses that play into this?
Maybe aggressive behavior.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to add that, you can add attention to that theme.
Can add attention to that theme?
That's right. So if you invoke your weakness tags on yourself, then you actually add attention for doing so.
Oh, then that theme levels up. Ooh.
There we go. So we'll see what that looks like.
Cool. And then I'm gonna use terrifying and does indomitable work? Just like I'm not gonna move and I'm not gonna blink type thing. That's probably not.
I don't know. What does the table think?
I'd say yes.
Yeah, I'd go with it. Dominable seems to match.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. Go ahead and give us a roll. Get your juice to control the scene.
Oh God, why?
Oh my.
Why are they
not having a good night?
You still add attention for using that weakness tag, even if we did do the fails.
Why does
Okay,
the
so
game hate
yeah.
us?
Well, it's because you invoked your weakness tag. You got attention instead of the roll. Good job.
Yeah, pretty much. He's learning. All right. So you were trying to control the scene. So there's a group, probably about 2 or 3 men. They're all wearing a variety of like vest, overcoats, slacks. They have bowler hats on, and 2 of them are smoking. And you see them starting to approach the area. They seem to have come from one of the many bars in the area, and they all are carrying a variety of bats. One has a hatchet in hand, and they are just walking to the scene. Everyone around the area sees them, and goes inside, closes the window. They seem to not want to be part of whatever is coming. Mike, you're far enough away. You see this group of individuals approaching as well. Again, 3 big boys. You know, not as like round as you, but definitely big like you. They definitely seem like bruiser types, and they're making their way towards the crime scene.
They're behind me.
They are coming. If you would have gone down the street, yeah, they would be kind of coming from a bar to your side. So if you had gone past the bar, they'd be kind of going back and heading in from there.
Basically, I want to kind of turn to kind of cut, not directly in front of them, but kind of be in their sight line when they're kind of approaching.
Okay, so you kind of go around them and turn your donkey to start heading towards them? Or are you like trying to get up to the side of them and just look over?
It's like I changed what route I was going to go down the street, and so I'm going down a different street.
Okay.
And so it's just kind of like passing in front of them.
Okay. Yeah, you go past them. They all seem unfazed by you at the moment. They are very focused on the situation that's developing. Calvin, after a few moments pass, the other constable, he appears to be a bit younger, a bit taller. His outfit is a bit brighter. He comes up to you, leaving the other constable behind. He kind of puts his hand up on the edge of the concrete. How tall are you again?
I had it. Not terribly tall. Like 5'9".
Okay. So he goes and he kind of plants his hand kind of near your face and kind of leans in a little bit. Fucking hell, boyo.
Hello, boy. So, what the hell's going on here? Your constable chases a kid into my fucking carriage, and now he wants to rough me up. How long is this going to take?
Yeah, I get it. You know, I'll be honest
I
with you.
got places to be. Listen.
I understand that, sir, and to be completely honest with you, we don't have the time or resources to really do anything of
Maybe chasing
this.
children into fucking traffic's not the way to go.
True. I get that, but you don't. The constable, he's been looking for this kid for like about 3 weeks now.
That's
Family
a
he
big
knows,
load of
family friend.
Not my problem, isn't it?
But the story he's telling is that you do have a bit of you take place in this just a little bit. Your carriage was riding. It was the door that struck the child. So maybe
It gets run over by a carriage. Oh, but it's the passenger's fault. That makes sense. If someone dies jumping off the roof of your building, are you going to get blamed for it?
Well, that depends on who was the one opening the door.
Yeah, I was getting out, and then this kid runs into the side of my carriage. I'm not sure if he hit the door exactly, or the rest of the carriage.
All right. He kind of leans in closer. Look, listen. If you want, we can take this to the courts. You can deal with all the bullshit of the magistrate and all of that, or we can handle this here and now.
Is there just a fine I can pay or something?
Look, I'll tell you what. You pay the family restitution. You give you help them out a little bit, and we'll let this go. As he says this to you, you see him look up. Shit. You know what, buddy? Good luck. He pats you on the shoulder.
Sorry?
He goes over. He gets up on his horse. Kind of whistles down to his friend, and both the constables begin to make their way down the street. You look over, and you see these 3 individuals walking towards you. 2 of the bats are starting to hit them in their hand. Haven't said anything yet, but they're making their way.
They start coming up to me?
Or they start making their way to the scene. Seems like they're heading to the body of the boy first.
Oh, good. You look like you're locals. Tell you what, Constable runs a kid into the street, gets killed in my carriage, and then they want to blackmail me and rough me
One
up.
of them points his
50
bat.
bucks, you help me.
Doesn't say anything. Just points his bat towards you. They both look down. Look at each other. The one in the middle comes in, takes his cig, flicks it aside. Who the fuck are you?
Him.
Jim.
Right?
Jim. You come into our district. You cause commotion.
Well, that's point number one.
What you gonna do about it?
Well, I was open to leave your district as soon as I can.
They start to circle you. William, you can see these three individuals starting to kind of make their way around Calvin to encircle him up against the wall.
I'm just gonna ride up slightly.
Yeah, the one on the corner with the hatchet kind of looks back at you and just gives you a very similar look that you would just try to give the people, kind of a get the fuck out of here kind of look, shakes his head and goes back to Calvin.
I'm just gonna ignore it like the people did, and I'm gonna ride up slightly and be like, what's going on here, gentlemen? I mean, there's a dead kid on the street. What are we doing? We can't be fighting.
He turns around. Another fucking outsider.
I live
Wait.
here!
I do. Teacher, get your ass out of here. William, with closer inspection, you would recognize that these boys are part of the Odero family. They are not known for necessarily violence, but they definitely are the enforcers of a lot of the pawn shops and bars in the area. They seem to have their hands in the cookie jar for a lot of the businesses in the blue collar district. And you also know that there are quite a lot of them around.
But I know any of the higher ups?
They're all kind of the you know the name, but you probably wouldn't know anything beyond the name.
Okay. Well, I know who you boys are. Look now. I saw what happened. Sure, he got a little anxious trying to jump out of the cab, but
So
it's not entirely his fault.
the one with the hatchet kind of makes his way over to you. The one in the middle keeps like having a small conversation with Calvin, but when the hatchet heads over to you, William, and he grabs you by the leg and he kind of goes to pull you down. Teacher, you've been in this district for long enough. You know, if an outsider comes in and fucks with our shit, they have to pay. That's the only way that this place fucking runs. You know that. You have boys that have come from your classroom that work with us now, do you not? You know what we're here for. Those fucking blue bellies, they don't do shit for us here. If we're gonna let these outsiders come and just whack off some of our children, can't have that happen.
Oh, so we're going to kill for every accident now, huh? Somebody's gonna stub their toe and you're gonna beat up a table.
Who said anything about killing, boy? He just needs to pay his dues. You know that?
Look at him. Look at him. Do you think he could survive a beating? Look at him. He's a fancy pants.
He looks like he has money. Look at that fucking outfit and that fucking cane. He has money. He can pay. That family deserves, or that boy deserves a barrel, don't you think?
He does, but
His-
I'm willing to bet that man doesn't have any money.
Look at his
He
outfit.
just
You
looks
think he has
fancy.
no money?
I'm willing
Teacher.
to bet he spent every penny he has on that outfit.
Hmm.
He's probably more in debt than you are.
Look, just get out of here. Let us deal with this.
Well, I think I'm gonna stay right here.
All right, I'm going to have you roll a face danger as he goes to slap the ass of your horse and get it charging down the street.
Yes, of course. I'm gonna use my quick martial arts skills. No? Yes. Wish I had the strength to carry a ball, to control the horse, and the super speed for the reaction time. Yes. These all make sense finally. And face danger?
Correct. Yeah, because he is trying to get your horse charging away.
Aha! Take that.
Perfect. So the horse goes to like rear up, but immediately you tighten your grip. You pull in the reins, and it just comes down with a sudden thud. The big guy comes close to you. Look. You can keep spitting whatever truth you want to say. The boy deserves a burial, and you seem to have some coin. You pay the price, we let you go.
Me or Calvin?
To Calvin. He deserves a burial, don't you think?
Ed?
Yeah, he's thinking.
One of two ways to go with this. Of course. Yeah. I mean,
course.
that's kind of a given.
It is. Give what you can, what you think this boy is worth, and we'll let you go on your way.
I don't know how much barrels usually cost and stuff for like what. I don't have a relative frame of reference.
William, what do you think? There's like the main, almost overflowing graveyard that you all had gone to during the other case. So what would you think? Honestly, it's probably going to be a standard wooden coffin, so
Just a pine box.
yeah, not a ton, but I think Calvin would recognize that this is a test, that they're not looking for you to know.
I would give not an extravagant amount. I wanted to, because I probably don't carry a lot of money on me, but I would give enough that it's, especially for the area, it's a decent funeral. It'll be a sturdy box. He'll get maybe a nice plot, not stacked on top of someone else type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They'll dig him 4 feet deep instead of 2.
Yeah, he won't be stacked on top of another coffin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he takes it. Good choice. All right. I think I saw your cab head off down that way. I recognize you. Get on it.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Supplying. I guess I don't get cabs in this area anymore. Good to know.
You see him like want to respond to it, but not enough. He puts his fingers in his mouth and whistles real loud. And Mike, you see two kind of younger teen boys run out of the bar and towards them. They go to the body, and they kind of, one grabs the shoulders, the other grabs the legs, and they start making their way back towards the dive bar with the body. The other three kind of turn around, walk away with their bats on their shoulders and make their way. The one that had been talking to you with Coven lights up another, cigarette and begins smoking. They talk amongst themselves as they head back in. One of them, the one with the hatchet, kind of posts outside the door as they go inside, kind of leans up against it and just watches you, Calvin, to see that you do leave. get back on that cab
I
and head
do
out.
leave, but the way I walk through is to dip the end of my cane, like the walking part, not the handle, in the blood as I walk by, so that as I walk down the street to fetch a cab, I draw with the blood just a little bit at the next crossroads that I meet.
Okay.
Just give a
Well,
little smirk and keep walking.
Yeah.
Why are you getting me in trouble, Calvin?
Oh, not my faults that the kid ran so hard off the door.
Really a tragic mistake, yes.
It was not exactly the way that I wanted that to go.
Well, let's find this address before any more trouble.
I think so. Let's do that.
All right. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, grab some water, and we will come back.
Can we make it 10 so I can make dinner?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll do 10. We'll be back.